Hey everybody, it's me Chadini. I want to thank you guys for supporting me, being with me, donating, staying subscribers and everything. I'm much more than just the person on YouTube. I'm a person that try to give back. I'm a business owner. I'm a family man, husband, father. Got a lot on my plate. And I noticed that our phone number isn't working right now. And this is common. Lines of communication get blurred every day with corporations and organizations, even conglomerate, Forbes list companies. The lines of communication get blurred. Okay, so right now, if you call the phone numbers off, simply because we were supposed to go with a certain service provider that would give us a deal for being a nonprofit entity. Because we're giving back, we're actually not making. We're not actually looking to make money, and we're not making much money. So we need a deal, because we're not making money here. That's not our deal. We're not for profit. So we're supposed to get the hookup with a service provider, but I guess we went with a different type of service provider. I didn't know at the time. I'm thinking everything's rolling. We got a phone number. Okay, good. Check. On to the next issue. But lines of communication got blurred. So in a couple days, we should have the number back up to give you a good time frame, so you won't call in a couple days, think the number's up, and maybe another issue may occur. By the end of this week, we definitely will have it up. So then you could call the number. You could call the number then. We'll definitely have it up then. Okay. You gotta understand, people who start nonprofits. There's a lot of these nonprofits. People that'll fix up HUD homes that are distressed in the inner city, in the ghettos, these projects where you got poverty pimps and things like that, okay? Or homes that are just sitting there, abandoned. You got a lot of these organizations that go and fix it up and try to sell it and give it back to the people, but, to make a difference, you only make a difference to that person you helping out, nonprofit organizations want to make a world of a difference, That's why you get involved. Because you want to make a world of a difference, okay? And I'm not saying that, those nonprofits ain't great. If what you're trying to do is just help so many people, then fine, you're doing your job. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, if that's your goal. Because the thing with nonprofits is, you're not into making money, you're into making a difference for people. So if you're only making a difference for 5 people, fine, that's your success. That's success. If that was your goal, then you're a success. That's what I'm trying to say. But the real organizations that's really trying to make a difference, they get involved politically. Okay? They don't just get in there in the political arena to say, hold on, don't trash the house, don't go and, get rid of it and tear it down. We want to purchase it and make it anew so that other people can live in it, to give us a good name as an organization. These nonprofit organizations will not only do that, but they should also be going out there politically saying, hold on, Americans born and raised in America should not have to pay mortgage, should not have to pay a rent, because they're Americans. Try to make some revolutionary change that's really for the betterment for the people, condition-wise, to really change their circumstances and their situations to make it actually better for them. Because I don't see how it could be better. You put them in a new home, and they still got to pay somewhat of a rent or a mortgage or something. I don't see how that could make it any better unless you're giving them the home for free. And how are you supposed to do that? You got to get involved with the political process. And that's what we're trying to do here at For Better Conditions. In order to provide better concrete conditions for the people, okay, what we got to do is get involved politically. But first thing, you got to get people to purchase the book on Amazon. www.worldwidewar.com. I'll put the link underneath in the description box. You guys can click that and purchase the book there. Help support our organization. The book goes for $20. The book goes for $20. Okay, it's priced at $20. Yeah, but because Amazon, I got fulfillment by Amazon, which they charge me a little bit more. It's going for $25 for fulfillment by Amazon, which basically means I had to send Amazon some books so that when you purchase under the fulfillment by Amazon and you pay a little bit more, Amazon will ship you the books. So they'll be Amazon itself will be responsible for the shipping of the books, you know, making sure you get the books. Where I got one up there where I will ship it to you, and that's a little less, going for $22. Still had to charge you a little bit more because for some reason Amazon want to charge me. You know, it's not a free service from them at all. So what I got to do is I got to break at a certain point where money will be going into the organization. So I have to make a profit, you know, because if I don't make a profit, it really won't help the organization. You know? So the profit goes to the organization. The rest of the money goes into RIA, which is basically meaning buying more books so I can keep the cycle going. All right. But we need like-minded people. In order to get like-minded people, we got to make sure that people get the content and the information, you know. To understand, you say, oh, I'm grown, I can do what I want to do. But this book goes into, okay, you're grown, but how come everything you want to do, as you say you're grown, you can do what you want to do, how come everything you want to do ultimately benefit a certain different group of people or organization or companies and corporations or groups of fraternities and sororities? You know what I'm saying? And how come they have control over you psychologically, politically, economically, and socially, which are four major factors in our lives. You know, they control those four factors. So you're thinking, you're conditioned psychologically, you're conditioned economically, politically, socially, you're conditioned by these organizations. Okay, we want to know what their agenda is in the book. Certain directions they may take is in the book. What we need to do and what we can do is in the book. All right, and you got to get that type of information and content so that then we can understand what we're here to do. To provide better concrete conditions is on the basis of what's in that book. And then we move politically. You understand? We move politically. They talk about hood disease. Harvard doctors, you know, talk about some hood disease. You know, that is people in the inner city that goes through post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, they go through this post-traumatic stress disorder, right? Maybe because growing up with no father figure, really finding their father figures out in the streets and they're shooting each other, you know, turf war, you know, gang violence and things like that, drugs, you know, the hip hop music, parents listening to that stuff. You know, parents listening to hip hop music is not good. Not good. Not today's hip hop music is not good. All right. So, you know, what do you think these children will grow up to be like? You know, what direction you think they're going to follow? You see? Psychologically conditioned. Those who think they're a little bit more prestigious, a little bit more suburban, and able to go out there and do things. Why you think the way you think? Why you feel the way you feel? Why do you think you're better than they are? Why do you think you have to uphold your end when you could, if you could just lift those people who's worse off than you better your situation too? Because it's a domino effect, you know. You help those underneath you get to where you at, you can only go up. You can't go any lower because you already lift the bar. You know what I'm saying? So these non-profit organizations that are really trying to make a difference, you make a difference doing it, going into political action, making sure you can understand the content. You got to purchase my book. Nonprofits can help other nonprofits. Not a problem. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to make sure that everything we do moves with a certain level with the content, and we do it politically. We get involved economically, socially, and you know, psychologically. Obviously, it's with the content and the information. We could be on the same level of like-minded level. Okay. I wanted to talk about the Supreme Court ruling that happened, you know, with for-profit companies, with the Obamacare, contraceptives. You know, they think they have these religious rights. You know, these for-profit companies. Listen. It's not the job of the for-profit company to determine if the women or men or whatever it may be, or what they need to do with themselves. You know what I'm saying? If the law says to give contraceptives in the Obamacare, if that's part of the plan and you're supposed to support it as a for-profit company, why would you fight that? You know, it's up to the people who you work for are the people who work for you. I say you work for because they're the ones making you money, you know. But it's for the people who work for you. You know, these people who work for you, you shouldn't be telling them, hey, you work for us, we're not going to give you no contraceptives. You got to go elsewhere. What? But it was in the law? You know, what would this do now? All these companies, we live in a melting pot of nationalities and cultures, you know, and beliefs. A melting pot of just different stuff. Different beliefs, different cultures, different nationalities. And if for-profit companies could say, yeah, I understand that's the law, but we don't follow that, you know. We passed in the Supreme Court that, you know, we're not going to give you that. So you work for us and you have a baby, you want to get rid of it, and you make a mistake, tough luck. You know, you got to keep that baby. You know, you get raped or something, molested, you know, it gets into something more physical, into rape or something like that, and you pregnant. I'm sorry, we're not going to, you know, you work for us, we're not going to support you getting an abortion. You know, who are you to say that as a for-profit company? You're looking into digging in people's pockets, which you should not be doing. You should not be digging in people's pockets. Which a lot of stuff you do, Hobby Lobby, if that shit was for free, you have a lot more customers, right? I'm just saying, you're for-profit. You know, you have no business telling the people that work for you if they can or can't do something. You know, that only makes sense in America, where the people should come first, right? And that's why I want to get into. You got a lot of these so-called Christians, right? They're the first ones that want to throw the stone. They don't understand. That's why if you're a Christian, and I tell you, if you're a Christian, I question your Christianity if you don't support us. Because, and the reason I say this is because you got Christians out there who don't want to kill the baby or kill embryo that could turn into a baby and a living being. Understand that. I understand that. I wouldn't want you to either. But we also have to understand that women don't get pregnant to create a life, just to destroy a life. Women don't do that. They don't open up their legs and to knowing that they could create life, to just destroy life. Now, if women are doing that, they need to be in a cycle ward in a straitjacket, right? Right? I think you guys agree. Why would you up here creating life every time you're doing something sexual? You create life and you up here going to get an abortion every time. You know, something's wrong with you. You probably need some psychological help, you know. But for the most part, majority of women in this country don't go create life to destroy life. They don't do this. Who does that in their right mind? Now, as a Christian, you know this now, right? Good prevails over evil all the time. So if people are doing evil things, it's only because, if people are doing sinful things, it's only because of their conditions, their circumstances, their situations. Here it is, our organization is trying to provide better concrete conditions for the people. We're trying to better their situations. We're trying to better their circumstances. And I'm talking about the low of the low. I'm talking about the oppressed. I'm talking about the downtrodden. I'm talking about the ones who's sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if you call yourself a Christian, you don't support our organization, you got to question your faith. So support the organization. I don't care if you're for or against abortion. If you're against abortion, you got to support our organization because we want to make it better. We want to make it better so that people don't have to get abortions. So women don't have to get abortions. They get abortions because of their conditions, because of the circumstances they're in, because of their situations. We want to change that and make it better. You understand me? You understand me? So that's number one thing. Okay? You got to support. Go to Amazon.com, purchase the book. If you don't want to spend the $20, it's too much money for you, fine. You can donate $1 or more, whatever you want to donate. You go to forbetterconditions.org. Support the cause, because we're trying to do something revolutionary. And we need the numbers. We can't move politically unless we know we got the support and like-minded individuals, like-minded peoples, such as yourselves. Okay? What we want to do, you know, of course, being American, born and raised in America, you shouldn't have to pay a mortgage, shouldn't have to pay a rent. All right, I understand that, you know, a lot of companies make their money off of this stuff. You know, it's companies that live off of you paying mortgage and rent. All right, so what we have to do is say, all right, no more divorces. You know, you got to be married for 30 or 40 years in order to get a home. the government will gift you with a home. It's a lot of land. You could travel this country by car. You see, it's a lot of land. There's no reason why people who've been married 40 years in a marriage, and if you married, there's no reason for you to get an abortion, knowing that you're going to get a home. You're not going to be paying this mortgage or rent anymore, right? Boom. There you go. You know, it will change. People understand the trickle-down effect from that. Something good comes out of that. Maybe less abortion rates, you know, maybe less divorce rates. Something good comes out of that, all right? Then we start changing. At that time, we're changing the conditions for the better, the circumstances, the situations. We're changing them for the better, okay? So you got to support our organization. You got to support the cause, you know. So I was reading about this Supreme Court ruling, and it comes to no surprise that the Supreme Court. I was reading NBCnews.com, okay, and it comes to no surprise that the Supreme Court gonna say don't look too far deep into it, and it's what made it even worse was the NBC News article. It was titled "Not So Fast." Not so fast. Hold your horses, you know. And here it is, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court telling you don't look so deep into it. Don't look too deep into it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I remember reading this from the CNN.com article, where in it said, and I quote, "Some on the bench," meaning the Supreme Court, "may worry about the long-term impact in overriding large parts of a law passed by Congress." You see? And now being carried out in stages, which needs to be done. But the Supreme Court, those in the Supreme Court, are worried about that. They worried that we would dissect laws and take out certain provisions and certain clauses that shouldn't be in there, that may be oppressive or may support tyranny when it comes to the lowest of the low, when it comes to the people. You know what I'm saying? If companies can do it, because in America, for some reason, we treat companies as people. Notice I said that. We treat companies as people. You want to live two lives, start a company. You know. Notice I said that. You know. And that goes into some deeper other stuff. And you guys keep staying tuned to the YouTube. Purchase the book. I mean, my God. Purchase the book. You know. You'll get a lot of that information. You'll start understanding. You'll be on the same mindset, the same mind level. Mind wave will have the same type of level of, you know, of thinking capacity. Well, then we can start moving politically, you know, because now we're psychologically on the same level, like-minded level, shall I say, you know. So we gotta be able to support the cause, gotta get the book, gotta support us, man, because we're trying to do something revolutionary, and we're gonna do it whether you like it or not. I don't care if it takes us 20, 30 years, you know. Whatever these organizations are trying to do to control us, or whatever they're trying to put out there to control us, we're going to get in control of that very thing that they're using to try to control us. All right? We got to. So, yeah, it's our American right and our human right, our God-given right, to dissect these laws that are supposed to govern us. If we feel like they are more supporting tyranny and oppression, or creating some type of oppression in the people, or distress or stress with the people, it's our right to do so. But yet, the Supreme Court fears that people will start coming in there trying to dissect all these laws, all right, so it can fit them, which you're supposed to, right? As an American, you're supposed to. You're supposed to get involved with the political process, not just voting. No. You're supposed to go in there and get involved with the legislation too. Knock down the door. Knock down that door and say, hold up. These provisions, these clauses ain't good for people like me. We live in a, like again, I say, we live in a country, a melting pot of nationalities and cultures. A melting pot of nationalities and cultures. You know, what may be good for the white man may not be good for the black man in his condition. What may be good for the poor white man in his condition may not be good for the rich white man in his condition. And vice versa. And all, you know, and you know, the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's so important. It's so important that we get involved politically and with the lawmaking process. Yeah, Supreme Court should fear for their life. Why even pass that then? You know, why pass that? Because they passed it also because it wasn't just Hobby Lobby. It was other companies. And I'll tell you why they passed it. They tell you not to look so deep into it. Church and state is not separate. In order to create a church, to be looked upon, to have a religion that's serious, that's looked upon seriously, politically, and legitimately, you have to sign papers with the state. You have to be buddy-buddy with the state. Politicians and everything else, right? You have to. Or they won't take your religion and your church serious. You know, you can have a church, you know, but you won't get anything from the government for it. You know, you won't get any type of benefits and nothing, you know, until you start buddying with the state, file some state paperwork, okay? So church, that's the first thing that's a lie. Church and state is separate. That's a myth. That's not true. Church and state is one of the two. You know, you can't go out here and create a state without having some type of religion. You look around in every country, you know what I'm saying? And you look at the beginning of how America was created. And you try to go form a church and get some benefits. They'll tell you what paperwork you need to sign. And they tell you what you need to go to the state office and sign this and sign that, you know. They'll tell you what to do, all right? So, here it is. You have these for-profit companies, okay, like Hobby Lobby and others, okay, who say that they don't want to follow through with this Obamacare, with this, when it comes to the contraceptives, supporting that, you know, which is understandable, right? It's understandable. They could fly flew in my ear. But it's understandable, right? So, you know, they feel that way because the owners are religious. The owners have religious freedom rights. The company doesn't. The company's for profit. They're trying to get in your pockets. They want money. They need to make sure they make a profit at the end of the year, period, right? So the company shouldn't be doing that. But it's okay if the owners feel that way, you know, fine. But you shouldn't use your power to control. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're using their power to influence government. And that's exactly what they're doing. Because they know, you know, a person or a group of people probably can't do what Hobby Lobby and these other companies can, because these are companies that can put millions and millions and keep something going and advertise and put advertisements out there and just make this a whole big deal because they got the money to make it a big deal. Okay? Not only that, but the owners are probably friends with heads of religious institutions. You know what I'm saying? They probably know these people, which then you get the religion involved in it. And, you know, you can't have somebody like John McCain talking about this stuff and not, you know what I'm saying, and being okay with it. So the Supreme Court had to go with them because they had the power. Now, if it was just the people versus on the same issue, the Supreme Court made, you know, the people said, well, we want to get rid of this, we get rid of that, we'll get rid of this provision or this clause because we feel like it's a little oppressive stuff. It's going to be, they're going to give us a harder time because we don't have that power. We don't have, in America, it's not about your education, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. If we don't know people, and let alone we don't bring in millions of dollars to make something a big deal, they're going to take their sweet time with us. But they couldn't do that with Hobby Lobby and stuff like that because they had to move quick. These Hobby Lobby companies that got employees and the owners have ties with heads of religious institutions and things, they have to move their feet because this could blow up real big, you know. That's why I say, like, mostly every revolution or every group, like when you look at Martin Luther King and things like that, it was certain groups that was a part of that, like certain companies and for-profit corporations and heads of industry that was supporting of that. You know what I'm saying? The reason why it got so big in the first place, you know, right? Because there was a lot of money being brought in, a lot of donations and support, and it's people with big names and companies with big names and everything is supporting it, and it just blew up, you know. When it gets to that point, that's why I say you gotta go in a political direction. We at the very beginning stages. That's why I say if we get enough people, then we can start going for companies and stuff like that and making a difference, you know. Because it's all about numbers, you know. It's all about numbers. If there's 1 million people supporting this organization, what company is not going, you know, for-profit companies, you're for-profit, so you want to do whatever you got to do to keep yourself in good favor with people who you're going to put your hands in their pockets. You want to, you know, I want to get in your pockets, so I got to do whatever I got to do to keep myself in good favor. That's how the for-profit companies think. So then, of course, they'll support the cause. If there's 1 million people supporting this cause, then they'll support the cause. Then the Supreme Court will have to worry about something else. they have to worry the fact that they might not need to be in a position of power, because you know what, the people will ultimately have control of their own lives, psychologically, politically, economically, and socially. They have something else to worry about. But yeah, the article on CNN.com started off, for-profit companies say it's wrong for the government to require that they provide insurance coverage for, say, drugs that would be provided to prevent human embryos from being implanted in a woman's womb, which the business owners equate to abortion. I believe that it's similar to abortion. It's the same as abortion. Okay, and I read that to you already. That it says that some on the bench, the Supreme Court, worries about the long-term impact over overriding large parts of the law passed by Congress and now being carried out in stages. Okay. Part of this also is how these companies just don't like Obama, and how because maybe they feel like he's Muslim, Barack Hussein Obama, and this, and racism and all that stuff too. All that's mixed in there. But this could also be the possibility that they try to get out of not paying so much for insurance for their employees, or maybe not insurance at all for their employees. Maybe that was just a little jab, see what they could get, So you got to take that into consideration too. But the only reason why the Supreme Court passed it is because of their position of power. Whereas the people, they would move their feet a little slower. For the people, it'd be like an ongoing thing, probably last months for us to really even make that difference, and for the Supreme Court to make their final ruling. But for this, they had to make it quick because, again, religion and state is two of the same. So here you got these for-profit companies with religious owners who may have buddy-buddy relationships with leaders in religious institutions. And it kind of just trickles down. They had to move their feet quick because things could have got ugly real quick. And that's why I say, if we get the numbers, of people, and we got the support, things could get ugly real quick too if we don't get what we want as the people, which is what? Free shelter, free food. You got human right. God gives you free food. All you gotta do is go out there and work for it, hunt, plant it, farm, you know what I'm saying? You have a God-given right for free food, water, shelter, clothes. We got to get back into making our own clothes even, you know what I'm saying? But I know a lot of people say, I don't want to make my own clothes. Well, fine, we don't have to make our own clothes, but shoot, the government can pay the companies that make the clothes. We get it for pennies on the dollar, not a problem. You know what I'm saying? We need to get into that, as we are Americans, and that's what we need to be doing. It went on to say, more broadly, many worry giving corporation religious freedom rights could affect laws on employment, safety, and civil rights. Okay? Which, again, it could, if they choose to go in that direction, which, again, if Obama tried to push something out there, it passes with the Congress, here comes the companies. Because they know they got these religious freedom rights, they may exercise that, and use this as a example, this ruling